What's up, everybody? Kenny here, also known as Silent85. Welcome to another vlog, Humans Part 2. It's funny, I originally did the humans video, um, talking about what's kind of happening current day and where certain aspects of humanity affect our leadership, our overall species, and it makes you think, and I may be out of line to say this, but I have hope for humanity. There's not really a whole, especially if you spend time online in echo chambers like Twitter, Facebook, especially. Facebook can be especially toxic. It's funny how that evolved because growing up with the internet as I did, you had places like Zanga, MySpace, you had chat rooms on AOL, you had all kinds of things, all kinds of social forums online. And while they weren't perfect back then, there was this new frontier of what felt like new frontier of communication, instant communication, not just picking up a phone and talking to somebody, or you can go further back and have, um, tap, Morse code, and whatnot through a transmission of wires. Go way back further, you had smoke signals, or ancient runners between villages. But it's a sign and it's a good example of how humanity grows and how we get to where we are. Um, it's because humanity does learn. We do invent. We do progress. And that gives me hope because you see that in generations. You see that in generational evolution. Yes, it is true on some societal standards we're progressing back, especially here in the US. I can't speak for overseas, I can't speak for international, but as an American, I do see states, certain states especially, that are going back to arcane policies, archaic laws, not arcane, archaic. I've been playing too much Warcraft, but um, these are a minority. They're a minority, but they're very loud. They're very loud. These people that want to take things back to the way they were, they want to step back too far and really pull back progress. But the problem is there are leaders in play that's just trying to speak to that one minority, that one loud minority, very loud. And because a minority is loud, people tend to feel like it's the majority. And that's political. Of course, there's also parts of society that feel the same way. Overall, though, in my view, as a hopeful human, that is hard to hold on to, especially when you face mental challenges. It's hard to hold on to hope. I'm not normal. I never have been normal, a normal human being, but I can only guess that it's either harder or much easier for people that don't struggle with mental challenges to hold on to hope. I don't want to say standard, but everybody, I think, struggles to hold on to hope. Not at different levels. I mean, at different levels, not on, it's not the same for everybody. It's more challenging for others. But then again, it's all relevant because we're all going through the same damn thing. We all want hope. We all want strength. We all want guidance. We all want wisdom. And our own species is testament to that. And if you look back at it, you can find it. The problem is we get so caught up in the current and we worry about the future. But as it stands, as we are now, there's a lot of disaster. There's a lot of darkness. There's a lot of unknowns. And I'm dealing with that on a personal level as well. But as hard as it may be, I give myself hope because I know who I am and I know what my story is. My story has always been one of struggle. of struggle, especially 20s, early 30s. Coming into my teenage years, it was a struggle because I was a child of divorce. I didn't know where I was going to be or who I was going to be. I went through childhood abuse of an abuser that tried to force something on me. But as I got older, and as I realized how smart I was and how intelligent I was, it made me reflect on who I could have been, where I could have ended up if I had had a different childhood. But later in life, you learn that you can't really do that. I mean, you could think about it, maybe daydream, whatnot, but I had become so caught up in it and I mourned it so much into my late 20s that it held me back. It held me back because I kept looking back. And granted, I still struggle with this. I still struggle with looking back and holding on to what's back, especially with past loved ones, with my father especially. Um, I lost him a few years ago, and I still have his ashes. I plan on getting them to Oregon at some point and spreading them because he's part of my past. But it'll help me to move on from him whenever I can, you know, not have to shoulder the weight of his ashes anymore. But I made a promise to myself and to him after his death. I said he always loved Oregon, so I figured I'd get it up there. But the whole nutshell of this thing, a little long-winded so far, not doing too bad on time as per my usual videos, but the important lesson to be learned as you get older is to learn from your past, hold on to your memories, keep those lessons in here and in here, keep those people in here and in here, and realize that you've only got so much time on this planet. Currently, we may be immortal in the future, but as of this generation, we get maybe 60 to 80 years, maybe a little longer than that if we're lucky. Of course, the way science is progressing, again, far future, we could be immortal. 3 or 4 generations from now, 130 may be the new 60. Who knows? Um, but there is one thing I've always said, and it's kind of dark in a way, but I say it to Lady P, Lady Psylocke, and I've told a couple of friends. A direct quote from Futurama: "Thanks to denial, I am immortal." Because you're in denial of your own humanity. It's hilarious. I love Futurama. It will forever be one of my top two favorite animated series. And then along with Justice League. I can't think of the third one. There's another. Well, I mean, there's anime, obviously. I think Cowboy Bebop would be in my top three, top five for sure. Because there's also High School of the Dead and Soul Eater. So I've never really figured out where those fell. But Futurama's always been a safety blanket to me. And guess where Futurama came from? Human creativity, skill, intellect. We got animated shows because of our ancestors doing drawings and paintings in a cave. That artistic flair, that creativity somehow grew in our brains and spread out, you know. And again, just a story and proof of who we came from and who we can be. I'm not saying we need to turn into cavemen. I'm just saying if we keep going the way we're going, there's always going to be hope. There's going to be a lot of darkness, especially since we're on this. Social media is new to humanity, man. I mean, to be this connected, to have this many opinions and facts flying around, not knowing how to handle it. Newer generations are growing up on it, so they're starting to learn like how to manipulate it and use it and benefit from it, for good and bad. But when it comes to generations like mine, I'm one of the rare generations to where we grew up without internet. And I'm not saying this to sound old back in my day, but we were outside. We rode bikes. I used to love riding a bike, especially popping wheelies right off a speed bump. No greater feeling in my childhood than riding a bike and just taking off like the wind. Man, I tried skateboards, but I was too fat for skateboards. But my bike, man, I had a Huffy and I would huff it. It was just amazing. I'm actually looking at getting a bike. I'm fixing to be 40, but they've got bikes for bigger guys like me now with bigger wheels. So I'm looking at doing that. But that's part of my story, just like the cave paintings are part of our story as human beings. The evolution of communication is a part of our story. Evolution is a part of our story. Learning from religion and ancient stories is a part of our story. And where that story will go, I have hope that even though there will be challenges, there will be evil along the way, quote unquote evil, there will be bad things that happen, but there will be good things that happen as well. And when you get down to the core of it, part of my, call it a belief system, if you will, call it a part of my view of things, is that there's a balance. There will always be a balance in the universe, in our planet, in us. There's always these old sayings. For example, there's a wolf. There's two wolves inside of us. One is a good one is a bad one. Which one are you going to feed? You know, which one will grow? That's like a loose interpretation of, like, I think it's some old proverb. I don't know if it's Native American or whatnot, but there's obviously in the Bible, there's God and Satan, good and evil, um, yin and yang. It's all the same at its core, and it's representative of us of human beings, good and bad. But there's also the gray. Personally, I prefer to be gray. I prefer to be the gray variety. I'm not trying to be the best good. I'm not trying to be the best bad. I'm being human in the middle. That's another thing I struggled with. That's a part of my story is black and white thinking. Um, in Humans Part One, I mentioned um, I really used to look at, and a part of me caused a serious grudge against certain groups of people of a certain belief structure, um, religion as a whole, even. You know, I grew up and witnessed the real evil behind it that it would allow humans to feel that they can get away with. But the other side of that is that it gives people hope and strength. I don't fully agree it's the best benefit to humanity to keep holding on to organized religion because it does section people off, much like countries, much like video games. Video games can do that, although it tends to be kind of childish, kind of toxic too, depending on what you're playing and what you're doing. But eventually, I believe, and if Star Trek is to be believed, because I'm a Trekkie, humanity eventually works into a whole and into something greater. We can look at who we are, look at where we've been, and learn from that. Just an overall learning, a general learning, you know? Just come together. I mean, it's such a simple concept. It's such a simple thing. Work together to better our future as a species. Work together. Come together. Giggity. It's such a simple and fragile thought in today's society. But I have hope that our future generations will learn to run with that eventually, even if it's generations from now. Man, I hope. And that is a hope that I continue to hold on to. And the reason I have that hope is because I look back at our stories as a species. I'm a fucking broken record right now, but so be it. We have come through so much. We as individuals go through so much. We as families go through so much. We as communities go through so much. We as countries go through so much. And we as a world go through so much. And to be truly humbled, think about the length and time of the universe, of the planet alone, that we as a species have been on and a part of all that. It's like a blink of an eye in comparison. Blows my fucking mind. But that's humbling, I mean, you look at the sun. We used to think the sun revolved around us. We used to think Earth was flat. We used to I mentioned in part one, our ancestors used gods to justify the universe. They personified the universe, the planet, the elements, just everything to better understand. And in some ways, we're still at that phase. I mean, we have science. Science is a tool for humanity. It's a lesson for humanity. It's continually evolving. There's stopgaps in it that religion tends to fill in. But eventually, science from here on back will be a solid line. There will be no gaps because we'll have such a better understanding of it. But there's also a part of science on the other end of the spectrum where there's so many unknowns because humanity is so young. We are so young compared to the universe. We are so young as a country here in America compared to other countries around the planet that have made such progress with some of their programs in society, security programs, social programs, government, so on and so forth. We're all young in a series of things, and we will eventually learn. It's just a rule. You eventually have to grow out of whatever is holding you back, whatever you finally identify of holding you back. And that's my hope. That's my hope for humans. That's, again, personal hope, but it is. So, anyway, thanks for listening. Hopefully, all this made sense. This is not as straightforward as the last one. It's been a long day. I've had a very long day, but I wanted to share this and just hopefully put some good out there, you know? And if you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching. I'm always raw with this stuff. I used to edit a lot, but I don't get a whole lot of time anymore. I was going to stream tonight, but because of recent family events and recent events in my life, it's been hard to find the energy to do so, to do anything in some ways because of what I'm battling with as well, which is my ADHD. I'm trying out meds. And of course, real life working, being an adult, and finances, they already sap your strength. But when you throw meds on top of it and your mental challenges, it's like there are days when you feel like you have nothing left to give. And so you just, for me, I withdraw. And I've been feeling that lately. I just want to withdraw. I don't want to face, anything extra. I want to live baseline, roof over my head, do my job, food, play a game or two, interact with the family off and on, talk to my girlfriend, hang out with my girlfriend. I really need to get away. Really need to get away. This is such a first world problem, but the last couple of years I've been able to get away every so often, but the way things have been, I haven't been able to. And it's been killing me in some ways, it really has. I mean, every human being has their own thing they need to do every so often to really help them feel sane, to help them get through the hard times, even if it's a small thing. And I guess in some ways I'm spoiled like that because not everybody can do that. Not everybody has lived the life I've had to live, the struggles I've had to go through, but also the opportunities that I've had and will have at some point, as well as struggles in the future. I mean, there's hope and there's struggle. There's up and down as a human being, but it's a part of who we are. It's a part of our story, and you can't have down without the up, and you can't have up without the down. Again, yin and yang, balance of the universe. Thanks for listening and watching. Stay safe, stay sane. Remember, you're awesome. Never let the world tell you otherwise. See you.